1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then Chris lets me know when
Sounds
we're
so
live.
confident about
Oh, we're live, bitch.
Oh, we are live? Okay. It's episode 199 of The Platformers, a show about games and nerd culture. I'm your host, Brian Barnett.
I'm Joshua Mobley.
I'm Chris Shriver.
And I am Andrew Wolf.
Hell yeah!
Wow. He's alive.
Well, the wolf
He
returns.
lives.
What was the last episode I was on? Like 120 something.
My
while.
God.
Oh no, more than that. Like it was probably like 160-ish.
Hold on,
probably.
I'll actually look it up while you introduce yourself.
150-ish maybe.
Tell us a little bit about
Introduce
yourself
yourself.
there, Mr. Wolf.
Oh. Well, I'm a 30-year-old bachelor looking for a beautiful woman. No, I run
Looking for
Nintendon't. Always looking for love on Twitter.
Looking for love in
Slide
all the
into my
wrong
DMs.
places.
I run Nintendon't and Amiibo alerts, and I've got a cat that I pretend is the intern so that I can blame all the
I
stupid
love
tweets
that.
and
All the failings.
and all the things that I'm horrible at on the fluffy cat. So
Oh my God. Okay. Here we go. You were on episode 154. One of the hosts is what is it? What's the name of it? One of the hosts is a serial killer, but which one?
You got this.
Well, I can't see the whole title, so I had to do that. But yeah, you were on episode 154 and then episode 121, which was called "I Love Being on Podcasters." You are on episode 120, which is called "The Best Games of 2018," which is cool because now you're on.
I'm
Wow.
kind of curious. I don't remember what I said for the best games of 2018. So after this episode, I'm going to go back. And
I don't
listen.
even remember what games came out in 2018.
Yeah,
so-
you were.
War.
You were also
yeah.
on episode 104. Brian convinces everyone. You
Oh,
were also
no.
on
What?
episode 90. Andrew and the 3-year-old projectionist. And you were also on episode 89, the Flat Hyrule Society.
That I remember.
Wow. You were on a lot more.
Oh wait, no, you were also on episode 78, Shia LaBeouf Magic Fingers.
We got some good titles.
Yeah.
I'm very pleased with the titles. I when I'm feeling down, I often find that if I scroll the episode titles for the show, I get a laugh out of it. So, yeah, but you've been on quite a few episodes. I think that makes you easily our longest running guest.
Ooh.
Yeah, and clearly one of the greats being on this, the
And the
penultimate. Oh yeah, indeed. I mean, look at this handsome boy. If you're not paying attention, you should be checking out the stream at twitch.tv/platformerspod, where you can see the beautiful mug of one Andrew Wolf, who is longtime friend of the show, the man who helped give me my start in the video games industry, and the magic man behind Nintendo, Amiibo alerts, and all that sort of mischief around the internet.
All the things.
And as a personal throwback, today, listeners, I am drinking a very special drink that has very personal importance for Wolf and I.
It's urine.
It's not urine, even though it really looks like it is. This is Zubrovka and apple juice.
Oh my God.
From the Polish party
Yes,
at
the Polish
PAX.
party. Polish party that was hosted at it was in it's a very small Polish community in Seattle, but at like a giant, I don't know what it was, a community center, but it was.
I think it was held at like a hostel or like a it was like some sort of housing thing,
Yeah.
like community housing thing. Yeah, that party was dope.
Cheer.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I'm ready. I'm ready to go to more shows. I'm ready to go to more trade shows. But yeah, this week we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff. As we continue our countdown to episode 200, we are going to talk about some of our top 20 games of all time. This week, it is numbers 10 through 6, with a sneak preview of next week's top 5 episode with Andrew Wolf sharing his personal top 5. And we're also talking about Metroid Dread. I don't really know of any major things that happened this week other than that, so I think we can pretty much skip news.
Yeah, it's just
Was it something big?
There wasn't really.
There was another little game that came out that I'm the only one that played. That has
The
taken-
Nickelodeon
has
one.
taken the internet by storm, and
Oh, the
and the fighting
Brawl-
community alike.
Smash copy.
Smashcopy.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. I'll give a few words on that at some point.
Okay, cool. So because Josh
news.
and Wolf are on a little bit of a time crunch, we may actually reverse the order, and we may start, if you would like to. Is there anything that we want to say before we jump into the big topic for this episode?
No.
Wolfie, do you like Metroid? Do you think it's good?
I am gonna piss off a lot of people. I think that I'm torn between whether I think that they made a lot of bad design decisions, and either that or I just don't like Metroidvania games. Maybe. I just think that if I'm developing a video game, if I'm a project manager for a video game, and someone brings a design idea to me, my first question is, does it make the game more fun? If the answer is no, why the F
Are you putting it
are
in
you
the game?
putting it in the game? I think that Emmy
You can swear on the show if you want.
is fun. Why the fuck are you
Yeah.
putting it in the game? With that said, and I'm talking specifically about Emmy, there's a couple of other things, but I think it's just Metroidvania stuff. Like, why do I have to shoot a hidden block? Look, that's dated and dumb, but that's a different story. The Emmy thing, as someone that's not very good at Metroidvanias, I don't quite know what I'm supposed to be doing at the beginning of the game, and not being able to explore is a huge hindrance. Huge hindrance. I think Emmy's really cool. I like the feeling of like, oh, I gotta run, but like the instant death and literally like I'm not quite sure where to go, so I have to die 8 times before I finally go, oh, I was supposed to shoot that block. It's not a good design decision, in my opinion, and I don't think it should be in the game. I don't know. I'm not very far.
I'm not
so
either.
I don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like
I haven't
if
played it
Emmy's
at
been
all,
like that
so.
for a long time. But I just am. I it's hard when there's games like Ori, which I think both are very close to perfect Metroidvanias that I've played. I haven't played a lot. I think Brian, you might have something to say about that. But like
Because it
in
is
a world that
maybe
Ori
my favorite
exists-
genre. Yeah, I've got a lot to say about that. And I thought it was really interesting when you started off by saying either it's they made some bad design decisions or it's I just don't like Metroidvanias. You're absolutely right. There are a lot of bad design decisions in this game, and I've written like 2 pages of notes on them. And I was raging at this game. I beat it. I beat it today. I beat it like a half hour before the show started. And
Your playtime was 11 hours. Is that what I saw?
yeah, 11 hours. And I stopped. I tried fighting the final boss like 4 or 5 times, and then I quit and went and just started searching around because I was really annoyed, and exploring and kind of finding items in these sorts of games is like one of my favorite things. Like, get all the verbs, get all your movement options, all your special weapons, all the stuff that lets you explore everywhere, and then just methodically go from one zone to the next and just get everything. And try to solve all those puzzles. That is like my zen. I love that stuff. And so I was like, oh, I'll do that. And so I like completed like 2 zones and almost a 3rd zone. And then I was like, I really want to be able to speak to this game like authoritatively from top to bottom, and be able to talk about it. So I went back and started, working on the final boss again. And I think in like a half hour to 45 minutes, I think I beat it and beat the game. But yeah, I was really, really annoyed at a couple of decisions that they made, and the Emmys are easily the worst part of the game. I think that, and one of the things is like, there are 2 things that playing Dark Souls and playing games that copy Dark Souls poorly have taught me. And one is that requiring sustained perfection or sustained near perfection from players is not generally good. And 2, it's that instant death is almost always bad. Momodora 4 does this, actually, Reverie Under the Moonlight. If you fall into a hole, it doesn't do the Zelda thing where it pops you out of the hole and nearby and just takes some of your life. No, that's game over. You fall into a hole, that's it. And that's not good, especially when the rest of the game is so great. And the Emmys being instant fail with a extremely narrow window for parry timings, which gets tweaked when you fight other ones later in the game that are in, let's say, different environments, which becomes really difficult because even if you get that very strict parry timing down, it's different. And so one of the things that I think there are a couple of elements that I think are bad. Let me actually just look at my notes real quick.
Do you want to go down the rabbit hole just yet, or do you want to do the top?
I feel like we're there, so we should probably.
How much time do you want to spend on it? That's the only reason I ask. I know Wolfie's short on time. That's the only reason I ask.
Okay,
because I know how much this game means to you.
He's like halfway out of his chair.
It does. It does mean a lot to me, and I do literally have 2 pages.
Yeah, like I don't want to do it, and then them have to leave.
But we've kind of half done it already.
About it.
What's that?
You can have a whole episode dedicated to it.
I mean, you can. I don't care.
We could do that. You know what? We could do that. I know that we're like just talking about this on the fly.
Change the subject. I will say, like, late last night, Seattle time, I texted Bri like just a picture of my Switch. Like, dude, I'm bad at Metroidvanias. Like, can I not get this power up for some reason? And it was just a picture of me like hanging on a little cliff part, and there's a little missile upgrade right here, and I just can't get to it. I can't slide into it. And he's like, "Oh yeah, you got to get the morph ball in order to get there." It's like, it's at the very beginning of the game. Like,
why is
I
it
could
there?
see someone that doesn't know Metroidvanias. I get that, like, it's cool to go back and collect stuff that you've upgraded already, but people that are brand new to the genre,
especially
like,
a game that has come out,
I kind of knew.
Yeah,
right. I kind of knew, but people, it's like they're going to spend time trying to get it. It's frustrating.
Yeah. Real talk. That is one of the oldest memes in gaming, which
Metroid can't crawl.
Yeah, why can't Metroid? How do I make Metroid crawl?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's sitting there hanging by one arm, but she can't just like reach in.
And she couldn't even do that in the beginning. But like early games, it's like you're trying to get through a gap, and it's like how do I make Metroid crawl? And it's like you can't. You got to get the morph ball. Even though if you look at the size of it and the size of her, she could clearly lay down and like scooch through and get it. Like clearly.
Well,
like,
also,
I had to slide in.
Yeah, it also makes it confusing because they do introduce the slide mechanic. Like it's one of the first things you learn. So you think, oh, there should be a way for me to be able to use that.
Yeah.
I guess I will just give my very big picture without getting granular. I think it's bad that the Emmy sections are instant fail. They should have just made it so that they deal lots of damage and you're very likely to die, but it wouldn't trigger a cinematic where you die and you get a game over. That's bad. I don't think that makes it. Like, people were like, oh, but would you say that you were dreadful? Like, you were dreading this encounter? And I'm like, no, shut the fuck up. It's annoying. It's just annoying. It's bad.
Is it as bad as the, what are the guys in Doom Eternal that we hated? Or
I
that
never got
hated?
that far because that game sucks.
Ooh,
weird.
Those guys sucked. The Marauders or whatever they're called. I hate them so much.
Yeah, I can't compare it to that because I hate Doom Eternal.
They ruined the game for me.
The basic mechanics and gameplay loop ruined it for me. But anyway, so there's that that I think is bad. Also, I think it's bad that they give you energy tank container fragments. Like, never give players part of something cool. When they find something, just give them the cool thing. Like, just have fewer locations.
This is like fragments of heart containers. And
yes.
Yeah.
It's a bad habit. It's a bad habit that Metroid Dread learned from Zelda that Metroid never used to have as a bad habit.
Yeah.
Like, Metroid didn't do that. When you found an energy tank, it was an energy tank. You know, maybe you found, like, in Super Metroid, you found like a reserve tank, and it's like, it wasn't, you'd have to like fill it up with energy and then you could use it if you died and it would like fill you back up a little bit, which was a great mechanic that they didn't bring back in this game and they should have. But there's like
how Ori handles it. Or like, I'm thinking about a couple ways they do it, like where you collect things and then you can buy unlocks. I know that doesn't really work with Metroid because you have to unlock things in certain orders, but I like the way they did that. They also did like the collect 4 pieces and get a full upgrade or whatever. Feels like a Metroidvania thing, really.
But also a big bummer is you also can't sequence break. They don't let you, because if you actually, I saw somebody post a picture of them picking up a power bomb, and they're like, you can't use this yet. And it's like, motherfucker,
What?
I found a power bomb. You have to absorb the power bomb power from a specific enemy before you can get those upgrades, which
That's
is
dumb.
Which is bullshit. And there's a thing called, minor mechanical spoilers for the game. There's a thing called storm missiles, which lets you target multiple things and then set off like a volley of missiles. But I actually trained, I practiced this thing. There was like 5 targets for missiles around the way, and there's a block that lights up as you hit each one of the targets. The idea is you tag all of them with storm missiles, and then you let go, and it hits all of them, and then unlocks the block. But I actually practiced before I got that upgrade and hit each of them in time to light up the whole block, and it didn't disappear. So you can't even just do the thing manually. And I'm like, that you should just be able to do the thing. If you can do the thing that the item lets you do, you should just be able to do it.
Yeah.
And the same thing, like if I can get to a power bomb before I should be able to get to a power bomb, just give me the power bomb.
Give me the power bomb.
Don't let the charge beam react to that. Like, don't let it light up that little bit. You know, if you're shooting on them, that way it's like, okay, I can't use the charge beam for this. I need a different item.
Yeah, this just doesn't.
Instead,
this just doesn't work.
Like,
yeah. But instead, they each lit up when I hit them with the missiles, and it's like, so I should be able to do this, but I can't. So it's like little things like that. I'm just like this kind of, because like you can't do a ton of it in Super Metroid or the other games, but you can sequence break a bit.
Right.
You can get, you know, certain power-ups early. You can get the wave beam very early. You can get the spazer really early, because like if you know how, before you have like the high jump and a bunch of shit, if you know how to wall jump, like if you know how to like wall jump back and forth, you can get the spazer, which is a very powerful like mid-game laser beam in Super Metroid. You can get that very early in the game and jump the power curve, which I think is great. And it's one of the things that Metroid does really well, and Metroidvanias do really well, is like if you have skill, you can get stuff early, and that makes it really fun. That makes it really satisfying and rewarding. Whereas like this Dread is like very, very linear. Yeah. But all that having been said, the gameplay is something else. It's very good.
That's what I wasn't sure of, like, as where, in terms of where you fell with that. I think like mechanically the gunplay and just like attacking enemies and things like that, like Samus feels like a badass in this game.
It's very good. Like I was just telling, I forget who I was messaging about this, but I was like, I think it was my brother-in-law Tyler. I was like, yeah, I would put Samus up against any protagonist from any series, probably. Like I can't think off the top of my head who could beat her. Cause like in this, like I tweeted out, I was like, hey, like a man, you know, is sitting on the couch playing a game as an armored woman fighting aliens, Metroid Dread, while my wife is sitting at her desk. She is a woman and she is playing as an armored man fighting aliens, Halo Combat Evolved. And I was like, we didn't plan this, but I think that's really funny. And Samus would kick the absolute ever-loving shit out of Master Chief, and it wouldn't even be close. Like, it's just like, come on. Power bombs, plasma beams, ice beams, missiles, like, come on. Like,
I don't know, man. She dies in one hit, so.
Where you're at, like, I'm looking at end game screw attack space jump Samus, you know, stuff like that. But anyway, like, it does feel, you know, when you're fighting, and I will say, I will also give Mercury Steam credit. Everything that was in Metroid Fusion that this game takes from it, like the talking to Adam in the network upload sections and the parry mechanic from Metroid Samus Returns, they're all better in this game. Like,
I will say that was one of my biggest complaints about Samus Returns, and continues to be every time that game comes up, is I hated the parry mechanic. And maybe it was just me at the time playing that game.
It's not that the parry mechanic was bad, it's that they forced you to do it.
Right. This game, it feels a lot more natural in that it's like a choice that I make, that I'm going to use this to take on these enemies. And it feels really good whenever you do it. And
Yep.
and you get rewarded for doing it as well.
Yes, and you don't
Felt
have
easier
to
for me.
use it specifically at the times when the flash comes out. Like you can literally just run up to an enemy and do it.
Yeah.
And it feels like the parry timing is like, at least not when you're in a quick time event, pretty generous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when
They
the
definitely tweak it
flash
enough.
comes out, yeah,
It feels good.
yeah, which is good. I feel like this is definitely better than Mercury Steam's last outing. This is definitely better than Metroid Samus Returns. I would probably put this in my top 3 Metroid games. I really need to go back and revisit Zero Mission and Fusion, but I played a little bit of Super Metroid, and while yes, mechanically, Dread is better, I think that as far as atmosphere is concerned, as far as just pure kind of emotion evoking, I don't think it comes close to beating Super Metroid.
So if it's in your top 3 Metroid games, does that mean it's in your top 10 games of all time?
I did not include it in my top 10 games of all time because when I made this list, this game was not out yet. And like with Deathloop, I did not include it in my top 20 list because it's too soon. I need to sit with it for a while.
If you were gonna be like, oh my god, like I have to completely modify everything now because
No, I'm not.
this is
I'm not
everything,
changing
like,
anything.
everything I ever wanted.
This might change in the future. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely
Always will.
going to replay it. I don't know if I'm going to start right now or if I'm going to try to play a couple other things before I start it back up. Maybe revisit some of the other Metroid games. I am very excited to replay it, knowing now what I didn't know before. Particularly because I took the stealth approach to the Emmy encounters, and I had a couple of other people who didn't think they were as egregious as I did say, well, you can just run. And the game very explicitly trains you to hide from them. It explicitly tells you to hide from them. And then there was actually a later game encounter where I just straight up ran after I had like a bunch of upgrades. And it was actually like pretty easy to get away from. But I don't know if that's the case early in the game when you don't have a whole lot. So I'm not sure where the breakpoint is, and I'm not sure if that will really change how I feel. But it really rubbed me the wrong way at first. But yeah. So Metroid Dread is not in my top list because recency bias is a whole ass thing, and I'm not trying to deal with it. But yes, but Deathloop and Metroid Dread are very good with some asterisks next to it. So shall we begin? Shall we begin the countdown?
Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, it has come now to the main topic. Here we go. We're going from our top 10 to number 6. So I will start, and then Chris will go next, and then Josh, and then Monsieur Wolf. Here we go. My 10th favorite game of all time is Bloodborne plus the Old Hunters DLC. The reason why, so
I have no comments on this one.
no.
I mean, I Bloodborne's good. Yeah.
Bloodborne is an exceptional game from Software. It adapts a kind of storytelling genre that I think has become so mainstream. It's in World of Warcraft. It's in so many other games. It's in Borderlands. Like the Lovecraft influence is profoundly felt in this game. But it doesn't wear that on its sleeve. It's one of the best bait and switches I've ever experienced. Which is part of the reason why it's so good. From Software is a master of environmental storytelling and visceral, really dynamic and kind of not flashy, but very purposeful and I would say, kind of inspired combat. And I think that in Bloodborne, that it sacrifices a defensive play style for pure aggression. And I think in that way, it kind of embraces our more kind of bloodthirsty instincts. And that's part of the story. So it's telling you, don't be defensive, be on the attack. And that's what the story is about. So there's a lot of ludonarrative harmony in this game. And not only that, but there's so much to enjoy. There's so much to explore. There's so much to see. The way that they add insight into the game, which naturally goes up as you see more and more horrific things. And then what that does to your enemy encounters and just the way that you perceive the world is so brilliantly done. I'm really excited for Elden Ring. I don't really know how it's going to top Bloodborne because even though the game has its faults, like there's not a whole lot of build variety. Like Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2 have way more build variety than this game. In Bloodborne, it's basically, do you want to use strength weapons or do you want to use dexterity weapons? And that's kind of it. But I think that the themes are so powerful. The iconography is so powerful. And I think that it's just, like people are talking about with Metroid Dread, like there's this ominous, oppressive vibe that just permeates the entirety of Bloodborne. And it's a very powerful experience. And then the old hunters just reframes the entire main game and makes it even better. And it has some of the best From Software fights of all time. Like Maria of the Clock Tower is like one of the all-time great boss fights.
I wish I was good enough at video games to play it.
Yep.
A lot of people love it, and it frustrates me that we do not have enough time to discuss like adding a difficulty scale into games and like making games more accessible and whether or not difficulty is accessibility and all sorts of things. Like I don't want to dive into that, but like there's a lot of really great games, and maybe Metroid Dread is one of them, and not so much. But I think Bloodborne definitely, and the Souls games. I have tried play like Demon Souls on PS5. Love the atmosphere. It's a beautiful game. It's a lot of fun. I get to the point where I don't want to continue because I don't want to die.
Yep.
And I know I'm going to die, and I continue to buy these games. I continue to spend $60 on them or $70 on them, and I have fun for an hour and a half or 3 hours, and then I never play it again because I can't get past the first boss.
And for me, it's always the, how much time am I gonna sink into this only to lose it? And how many times do I want to do that when I'm that limited on time to play games in general? Where it's like, cool, I played a video game for an hour today and got the shit kicked out of me, and now I feel awful.
Yeah, and then that's one of those the design choice or the mechanic of like you die and your souls are there or whatever in Bloodborne it's called. If you can make it back there, you can get your blood echoes back. But if you die before you get back there, they're gone.
Right.
And that feeling is so devastating when it was even worse on what was that PS5 game that where she's like an alien. Returnal. It was even worse on Returnal.
Oh my
because
God.
you could be like 4 hours in a run and then you die, and it was like Returnal's awesome. The story is great.
It's awesome.
I haven't
It's
even
awesome.
played it.
It's awesome for a while, and then when your runs start becoming like 2 hours at a time, you're like, dude, like we got to stop this.
I have other things I have to do.
Yeah.
So I want to say a couple of things about this. I know you said you don't want to get into a whole thing, but I will say, as someone who has platinumed Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne and 100% of the DLC, I firmly agree that accessibility options and difficulty settings should be a thing in these games. Like, these should be accessible to more people. And I say that as my bona fides are fucking proven. Like, I beat Dark Souls 3 at level fucking 1. So if you want to come at me with get good, I'm better than all of you. Unless you're fucking Lobos Jr. and you're doing like challenge runs, I'm better than you at these games. And I'm telling you, it doesn't sacrifice any creative vision. It doesn't sacrifice anything to put accessibility options in these games, because Celeste is fucking harder than any of these games, and they put invincibility mode in there. So don't fucking come at me with that shit.
We beat it.
So, and another thing on a personal note, Wolf, if you want to play Demon Souls, co-op with me. I made a character specifically for co-op, and I really want to play with someone. And I'd be happy to help you see more of the game.
Great. Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Let's do that.
And a great thing about that is kind of the difficulty setting that is built into some of these games is that they do have co-op, and co-op significantly reduces the challenge of these games because it splits aggro and all sorts of stuff like that. It gives you breathing room to heal. So I would, if you want to play any of the Souls games, I will 100% play through these games to completion with you wherever you want, whenever you want. I'm so excited to have more people experience these games, and co-op really is the way to go with these if you're having trouble with it, because there's really cool stuff to see here, and I lament the fact that more people are not able to see it because it is very demanding. So if there's something I can do to help with that, then I'm happy to do it.
What a nice young man.
A nice boy.
Chris, what's your number 10?
Number 10 is The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah.
Ocarina.
Ocarina. Hamla. Yeah, I mean, it's Ocarina of Time. It's the, obviously the first 3D Zelda that a lot of people played. Obviously I have very fond memories of playing the N64 version when it released, or rather watching my brothers play it because I was too young and stupid to understand what was happening. I think this version, though, has, it polishes up a lot of, like, the problems that exist in that game, fixing a lot of, like, the lostness that can happen in the water temple, adding Master Quest to it, as well as the, like, as close to the original artwork as it can get, with those games.
The quality of life bonus with 3DS of being able to just pop on your iron boots and off, like, so good.
There's just so many quality of life improvements to that game. And if you are unfamiliar with it, and you have a GPU that's powerful enough, I definitely recommend that you check out Henrico Magnifico's 4K mods of or texture packs of that game. They're phenomenal. Like, he's doing God's work out there, and whoever else is helping him out.
Ocarina of Time 3DS already looks awesome.
Yeah, so, like, to see it upscaled, like, and do what Nintendo don't, or Nintendon't. What Nintendon't.
PC do what Nintendo.
Yeah, PC do what Nintendon't. It's phenomenal. I mean, everybody said everything there is to say about Ocarina of Time and just how, influential that game is, so I'm not going to bore everybody to death with that, but I think it's the best way to play that game, and I still will find myself being like, man, it's been like 2 or 3 years, I should pop back in there, and every time I do, I'm just like, hell yeah. Like, it just feels great to go back in and play. So that's my number 10.
That's awesome. Okay, Joshua Mobley, good sir.
My
is your number 10?
Portal.
Hell
Portal.
yeah.
Just
Nice.
Portal 1.
Hell
I mean,
yeah.
I do like Portal 2 a lot, but it's not on my list. Portal 1, because it's such a simple concept that is, like, taken to such just amazing places and makes you, like, think really outside the box, where it's like you can do literally 2 or 3 things. You can make this color portal, that color portal, and you can pick stuff up and then kind of jump, but not really. You know what I mean? And, like, you have to do all of these, like, really crazy things with just those few verbs, and the crazy part is you're able to do them just because of the way the game's designed. It's funny. Like, it has just, like, it's funny, but then has this, like, foreboding atmosphere and stuff. It's just really great. It's, like, one of the all-time greats. And it's easy to go back to because that game's only, like, 3 hours long. Or something like that.
A couple weeks ago.
It's really short, yeah.
That's
It's really
crazy.
amazing how, like you said, like, how they could take those 2 things, and there are so many times in that game where it's like, wow, oh my god moments. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
With
Like, when you learn about inertia and you just scream because you're like, oh god, I'm going so
I'm
fast.
jumping forever.
Yeah.
Plus the story's
Yeah.
cool, like the cake is a lie, like the voice acting's great, like it's just a good complete package.
That's
Mhm.
really good.
It's going to be funny when, like, everybody gets their Steam Decks and, like, that's one of the first things that they play. And they're like, I forgot how good Portal was.
Portal's so good, you guys.
Yeah.
Y'all ever done this?
Actually, you know what? The Steam Deck might be the time when I finally finish fucking Half-Life 2.
There you go.
All right, Wolf, what is your number 10?
All right, I'll start off by saying I didn't include any memer games. There's no Jungle Strike or Desert Strike in my
Oh
top
my
10 here.
god.
Jungle Strike.
But there is kind of a weird one. I think this is the only one that y'all might be a little shocked by, or maybe not have heard of. Tribes 2.
Tribes 2, hell yeah, dude.
Specifically the construction mod. And this mod predated Minecraft by years and years and years. And it used Tribes 2 engine and all the assets from Tribes 2, and you could build things. You could build homes, and you could make like puzzles, and it was basically Minecraft before Minecraft, and it was just a Tribes 2 mod. And me and my friends spent hours and hours and hours on it. And if you've never heard of it, you can look it up. I think there's just a couple videos on YouTube. But there was people that could make really, really, really impressive buildings. Like the stuff you see in Minecraft where they like recreate all of Middle Earth and shit like
Minas
that.
Tirith and
Yeah, like people were doing that with Tribes 2 construction mod, but they were making
Beacons
like
on it.
spaceships that would like actually function in real life and shit like that. It was just so that's my one off the wall. It's not a meme. It really was a fantastic game.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I've never actually heard of that. It looks cool, though.
You never heard of Tribes 2?
I just googled it.
That was
I've heard of it. I never played it.
So that was like there was a period of time where there like wasn't, at least, well, you know what? I'm probably fucking wrong about this. There was a time when it was like Unreal Tournament, Quake 3, like there was like a lot more action in the shooter space than there is now, where there's only like Call of Duty, Battlefield, maybe Halo, that sort of a thing. There was like more. There was like Counter-Strike and Tribes and Unreal Tournament and Quake 3 and
Unreal, which
Doom
was different.
and like all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And Tribes 2 was definitely one of those multiplayer games that was one of the first ones that I got into.
And a bunch of cool mechanics. Like you could ski, which is like you have a jetpack. Your character has a jetpack, and skiing is when you glide along the ground and you keep touching your feet, so like your jetpack never depletes totally. So you could like ski down a hill and you could just haul ass. So there was like the actual game, there was capture the flag and stuff where like
so it was like surfing in Destiny.
Yeah,
it's
and you could like or skating is what
like knife. What's the knife thing in Counter-Strike where you could like if you could like go back and forth really really fast? It was kind of like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It was very much like man, I'm gonna fucking date myself on this one, but it's okay. We already know I'm 10,000 years old. Tribes was very much like kind of reminiscent of like the Counter-Strike Cold Ice mod. If you guys ever played any of that, dude, Cold Ice on Counter-Strike was like my favorite shit, but nobody ever played it.
I think the Warcraft mod was my favorite.
But Tribes 2 was really like that. Was like I mean, if I'm not mistaken, like kind of a precursor to Halo, like yo, this is a spacefaring team-based. You can do capture the flag. You're out in this, open field and stuff. There's like ships and stuff like this. Yeah. It was really really fun.
There was an Xbox. There was one on Xbox at one point.
Oh wow,
there was a Tribes game on Xbox.
I believe so. Yeah,
at least a newer one called like Tribes Avengers.
Well, they also did that too, but I have this weird memory of there being one on the original Xbox.
Tribes Ascend.
That might be it. I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, that's cool. I had a lot of fun with Tribes, but it was kind of short-lived in my friend group. Unfortunately, like we spent a lot more time playing Counter-Strike. Yeah. So I guess that brings it back to me for number 9.
Right.
My number 9 is Dark Souls 3: The Fire Fades Edition.
Oh, a specific edition and everything.
I mean, the Fire Fades edition is the one that includes all the DLC in it. So it's basically just that complete package. Like, Dark Souls 3 and the Ashes of Ariandel DLC and the Ringed City DLC. Although I will say, a lot of those DLC fights are absolute nonsense. And a lot of the DLC just itself is extraordinarily difficult. But Dark Souls 3, the reason that I put it above Bloodborne is that I've actually revisited Dark Souls 3 the most of any of the Souls games. I'm not sure why. It's easily the most difficult of the Souls games. Particularly when you consider the DLC, which is like almost unconscionably difficult. It's kind of unfortunate how difficult they are because like one of the DLCs has like a straight up 3-phase boss fight, which in Dark Souls terms is like fucking outrageous. Because those bosses are already so difficult.
Chris and I both
Yeah, the sister
Hard
Frida
games,
fight.
I just can't.
The sister Frida fight is like fucking. It's nonsense. Like it's absolute nonsense. But it was fun. But Dark Souls 3 is one of those games where like, unlike Bloodborne, and this is the only reason that I put it above Bloodborne. It has way more
Bloodporne.
build variety. Bloodporne
is what you just said. I just wanted.
I'm sorry. I am very, very tipsy right now. I finished my whole thing. This was, by the way, this pint glass was half vodka and half apple juice.
Jesus
Oh,
Christ!
Why?
Just so you know.
Bloodborne.
Bloodporne on a Monday.
Bloodporne. Hold on. Let me actually write
Title.
this down.
Bloodborne on a Monday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
That's your number 9?
But yeah, but one of the reasons is it has better build variety than Bloodborne does. It has like a really interesting sense of closure and finality. It also has more of there's a specific turn in the game where it's like, wow, like in Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2, they've been telling you that like the world is ending and it really gets driven home. The world is fucking ending. Like, this is the end. Everything is going to absolute shit. And it conveys it in such a kind of beautiful, terrible way. In a way that, like, the rest of the series hasn't really captured. And one of the reasons why I think that, even though I've since then, I've really, since Dark Souls Remastered came out, I've fallen way more in love with the first game in the series. And of course, on Demon Souls Remake on PS5, like I like that game a lot as well. But I feel like there are kind of sticking points in that, like the Emmys in Metroid Dread. There are sticking points in that like don't exist really in Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 3 is kind of a more consistent experience throughout, so that's why I included that above Dark Souls 1 or 2. It is really difficult compared to Dark Souls 1 and 2, which I think kind of is a mark against it, but I feel like at the very least it's consistent throughout. Like it's very hard consistently throughout instead of having like wild spikes or ridiculous nonsense like, hey, curse in Dark Souls 1, or just your constant every time you die you get less health in Dark Souls 2. There's nothing like that in Dark Souls 3, and I think the co-op is more fleshed out and you have more options in Dark Souls 3. So I've revisited it multiple times. I found it compelling for a really long time, and that's why I put that in there. So that's my number 9.
Joy.
Chris, what you got for number 9?
Number 9 is the Uncharted Nathan Drake collection on the PlayStation 4. Hey,
I'm kind of shocked it's this low.
Well, you'll see.
I mean, we're in the upper echelons.
Yeah, we're in the
now.
upper. Yeah, and you'll see why.
We are, but this is Chris Shriver we're talking about.
Yeah,
He literally has tattoos, and this is number 9.
Well,
the Chris Shriver.
There's Uncharted. He's over there. So, I mean, the Nathan Drake collection.
I'm very drunk.
It's the, it's the collection of those 3 games that came out on the PS3. It's the best versions of them, upscaled to full 1080p, 60 FPS.
Quick aside, is it the same trophy list or is it a different trophy list?
It is the same trophy list with some tweaks. So the Nathan Drake collection doesn't include any online for Uncharted 2 or 3, which is kind of a bummer because the online in this game is actually really cool.
It is.
Oh, I was gonna say that's nice because it doesn't like if you're not an online person, if you don't have Plus or something, like it doesn't count against you if you're trying to get the platinum.
Yeah, well, so in 2 and 3 on the PS3, there were only like 2 or 3 trophies that you had to go for to get the online ones, and it was like try online. Like, it was more to just like be an incentive for you to like hop in there.
That's how 4 was, which I actually found like very refreshing.
Yeah, and then they did as they added DLC, they added a ton of trophies to those games. And I don't have those, and I never will because the servers are off.
But those are on separate lists, right?
Yeah, those are all completely separate. But the Nathan Drake collection, if you've never played it, like I think one of my favorite things about it is it's like so accessible if you have a PlayStation. Like they just give that game away for free, like all the time.
It was on PS Plus, right?
Yeah, it was on PS
really
Plus.
do.
It's on PlayStation Now. And it's like just 3 of my favorite games ever made. The reason another reason I did the collection is I didn't want to fill up 3 slots with just different Uncharted games. Because while I think they do, like, I do have my problems with Drake's Fortune because it is the first game. A lot of those are solved in that release. They're still great, FX dad movie type games that you can play on a Saturday. And if you start in the morning, like, you could get all the way through it. And there's
That's the best.
Yeah, and there's some pretty good speed runs of them too, of people like, getting through it in 4 or 5 hours, or any of them really. The set pieces are amazing. What's that?
But I think I pushed it to 11. I'm just saying it's a great choice. It wasn't in my top 10. I just barely pushed it out to 11. It's a fantastic choice, and I was going to do collection as well.
Yeah,
because, like you said, like it's the best versions of the game. So
yeah, I mean, my only complaint, honestly, is that they haven't given me the option to buy it on PS5 at 4K with a new trophy list, so I can do it all over again. That. And they don't separate the trophy list by region, because I would totally I would keep buying that game in different territories if it meant I got a new trophy list to chase.
Chris,
yeah.
Come on.
Like they're so much fun. They're such comfort food, and like I never have a bad time playing these games. They're just great. Everybody on this show, if you've ever listened to it, you've heard me wax philosophical about how amazing this series is.
It's so true.
It is.
That and Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, I hope. As much as I'd like to see a new one, I'd also like to see Naughty Dog do something different. So that's fine. But put these on PS5, man. Like, charge $40 for them, upscale them to 4K at 60 FPS, give them a new trophy list. That's all we need.
I'm gonna be honest. It's kind of crazy that they've done that for Insomniac Spider-Man. They've done that for Ghost of Tsushima from Sucker Punch, and they haven't done that for this.
Well, PS3 games.
If it was a Microsoft title, it'd be backwards compatible. You could play it on your.
Yeah, and then you wouldn't need it.
But
that's actually really kind of sad.
But I wouldn't get a separate trophy list. That's the bottom line. I need something to chase. Like, I can hop into Uncharted all the live long day, and I've done it. We've all seen it, but.
We have all seen it.
Yeah, give me something else. Give me some more boxes to check off and excuses to play these games, because boy, howdy, are they fun.
Chekov's trophy list. If you talk about a trophy list in the first scene, it better come back before.
Goddamn right. But yeah, Uncharted, catch the fever. Josh.
Yeah, what you got?
Dota 2. That's my number 9. Dota 2 is maybe one of the greatest games ever made in the history of this planet.
Okay, Gabe.
Listen, I spent college just pretty much playing Dota 2 and Destiny 2, or Destiny. Dota 2 is one of those games that, maybe like Dark Souls, has a really difficult learning curve, and you're going to hate your life for the first, 20 hours you play this game. But if you get into it and you have 4 other friends to make a squad, I'm telling you, it is one of the deepest, most engaging experiences you will ever have. It is so strategic. And if you truly understand its mechanics, it gets so wild. Like it's a game where like even moving a patch of trees on the map, because there's only one map, there's the Dota 2 map. Even moving a patch of trees will change the balance of certain characters. Like changing where a shop is might change the balance of certain characters. Changing the price of an item might make a character shit. Like it is that complex and that crazy. But with that complexity comes an experience where you can be 1,000 hours in like I was, and you still feel like you learn shit every time you play a game. You still feel like every game you play is completely different. You'll have memories. Like I still have a memory of being chased with a friend of mine and using an ability. I don't remember. He was like I don't remember. I think his name was Tusk. He was like a big walrus. He'd punch things and do ice stuff. I was running with him. We're running away from someone. He has an ability that spawns a big like ice wall kind of in a thing that you're supposed to like cusp people in, so it's hard for them to get out, and then you can go like punch them and stuff. And I remember using that and aiming it just far enough so that it would go past us and cusp like down the forest road we were on and block the path of the enemy so that we could go, which is not at all what that ability is intended for. But I did it. And I still remember that. And that was just in a random like off game that I played. Like that game is incredible. Can I play it now? No, because every game takes half an hour to an hour. The community is shit and always has been, and I'll say it. But I still think fondly like back when I had like 5 friends who played Dota 2 and we played like every day. It is something else. There's no other game like it. Like it's one of those things where like you could literally play this game for the rest of your life if you wanted, and you'd probably be fine because it's always getting content and like balance patches, and there's like it has a thriving esports scene. Like it is
Heck yeah, one of the best.
It is unlike anything else in the world. It's an incredible game.
Isn't it literally called like the Invitational?
Yeah.
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 Now,
like...
when I did the esports thing, that was one of the games. Like I had like 5 or 6 students where they're like, we have to do Dota, and they were just like super obsessed with it. I didn't even know what it was.
Like,
I had no idea. Like I heard Brian talk about it, but that was like it.
Yeah, Defense of the Ancients was originally a mod for Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
Where the idea and the way that it got its name was the elves had these like elder trees called ancients, and they were buildings, but you could actually like uproot them and they could walk around and actually fight in battles and things. And the idea of this mod was you were playing Warcraft 3, but the idea was you only controlled the hero units and not like the base building elements and stuff where you made like whatever peons and warriors and barbarians, all that sort of shit. You only controlled like Illidan, Maive, and like all these other characters. And your idea was you have to take down the ancient. And then that became a fucking genre. Like all things Blizzard has done.
That they just let fly by the wayside and Valve picked up.
It's so ridiculous. Like there was such a genius in both Blizzard development and in the modding community around Blizzard games that like it spawned entire genres that became esports unto themselves. Like, and it's so crazy.
If you want to get even more turtles all the way down, like the auto chess is a Dota 2 mod that became its own game, and then Dota 2 got its own version called Underworlds. So
yeah,
Jesus.
I actually like Dota Underworlds. It's really good.
And then Dota inspired League of Legends, which catapulted Riot to prominence, and now they're coming out with their own fighting game and a bunch of other stuff, like
Netflix series in November
games. Yeah, like you can trace all of this back to Warcraft 3. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
Long way of saying, if you have friends and you have time, like if you're listening to this and you're in high school and college, goddamn, like if you want a game that is like it's 100% free and it's not like League of Legends where all of the characters are behind, like you have to either earn them or buy them. All like 100+ characters in Dota are just available because from the get-go, they're like, we want the game to be balanced, so you just have access to everything. Nothing you buy affects game balance whatsoever. It's all cosmetic or all like whatever, you know?
That's how you do it.
Everything you go into the game, like when you go in the game, you're going in and you're picking like your character or whatever, and that's it. Like anything that happens in there's happening in there. It's all very closed off. I swear to God, like it is one of the best games ever made. The problem is that you have to have time and friends usually, because if you want to cut down on toxicity, you need friends that are just there filling up those seats right when you screw up. And then yeah, it's a thing where if you keep up with it, you will like fall in love with it. But if you can't, then you're just gonna like it's really hard to play casually. But if you can, straight up one of the greatest games ever made, hands down. I will fight anyone who says otherwise.
That's awesome. Wolf, what's your number 9? What is your number 9 top game of all time?
Number 9. Speaking of 9, I have 9 minutes, so we've blown through.
Yeah, I would just rip through yours then.
I will say that like my number 9 is one of 2 modern games on this list, and it kind of like a lot of the things, and I feel like this is going to be taken the wrong way. A lot of things you're saying about Dota 2 is how I feel about Overwatch, whereas like with a solid group, I have never before in an online game have I experienced such glory of like when you've got a solid team and you are just ripping apart another really good team. Like when you're playing a comp match and you are just on it. Like I have never felt so good, and I have also never felt so devastated and so raging mad when I'm with a toxic group, because there's so much toxicity in Overwatch, and it's kind of like I tried to play it recently and it takes 20 minutes to get into a match and it's all trash now, but at its height.
In fact, my first
I
piece that I wrote, I was just gonna say the first piece I ever wrote for IGN was about Jeff Kaplan like talking about the toxicity in Overwatch.
Yeah.
I will say, as someone who played it maybe right before all the crap stuff happened, and I haven't been playing Blizzard stuff lately, but if you played after the lawsuit thing, the player population has shrunk tremendously.
I haven't tried playing it.
But also, if you play when you play with a group, the queue times are a little better because you can all pick different roles or whatever. But I would say that the role queue fixes a lot of the just stuff in the game that leads to a lot of frustration. And as someone who plays paladins like just on occasion, which is like similar but not the same, but it has a lot of similar elements in it. Like paladins has a lot of the same problems Overwatch had at its launch, and it's weirdly like an almost the same age. Like paladins needs a role queue like really badly, because you get into games and you have the little thing that's like, we need a flanker, we need a healer or something, and then you have 3 tanks and like a damage and a flank, and you're like, well, we lost, you know? Like that's just sort of how that game works. Like there's not like it sounds like counterintuitive for Overwatch to be like, well, you have to have 1 tank and you have to have 1 support and you have to have this thing. It sounds like, oh, why are you pushing me into this box? But then at the same time, it actually makes the game more like, I don't know. Like it feels more, well, it just feels more like, I don't want to say balanced, but just more cohesive, I guess. You don't have like a million Honzos running around, or you don't have like 5 sniper characters, and you're just like, well, I'm not having fun now because everyone's a goddamn sniper. You know what I mean? Like it fixes that problem, I would say.
Yeah. Overwatch was the game that expanded me in a lot of ways, and like I got a 144 hertz monitor and it changed my life, and I actually got significantly better at the game. Like, I would rank low gold or like high silver maybe. When I got the 144 hertz monitor, I ranked in platinum, and it was night and day. I could play characters that I couldn't play before, and it was really, really cool. It also got me into watching Twitch streams. Like I loved watching Seagull, watching Seagull play Overwatch was like. And I had never really been into watching Twitch streams before, but
that was me with Dragon Ball Fighters, which was like this was the game where it was like I want to watch other people play this game and learn from them. That's awesome.
The remainder of my I guess my 8, 7, and 6. 8, I have Super Mario Bros. 3. It's a classic. It's like the mechanics are great. Like it taught everyone how to make a game, and I feel like it just deserves a spot in the top 10. It's not higher because I like it's not better than games that are out now. I don't think. It's got a lot.
How
of stuff.
dare you!
I love it. My
Better
number.
than a lot of games, I would say. But
Yeah, it's really good. My number 7 is Tetris 99, and this is my other more modern one on here. Tetris 99 made me
love Tetris
like,
99.
Chris is cheering in the background.
Tetris 99 is
I
freaking
was-
phenomenal. No one
I
talks
was
about it.
trash at Tetris. I would never play Tetris. I was bad at it. I didn't really get it. It taught me to be good. It taught me to enjoy being competitive in Tetris. It taught me how to like try to learn T-spins, which I still can't do. I'm addicted to it, and I live in Seattle. In Washington, marijuana is legal, and I love going to my buddy Jason's house, eating an edible, and we'll start out playing Tetris. And we'll take turns. When you lose, you hand the controller over, and I'm actually pretty good now.
And then after like 2 hours, you fall asleep.
After like 45 minutes, I mean, he's pretty trash always, but so like he'll lose real fast, but after an hour, like I start to get really bad, and I'll hand him and we're just so bad. And
Okay,
it's
which is better? Which is better on marijuana? Tetris 99 or Tetris Effect Connected?
Oh, Tetris Effect Connected is you want some mushrooms or some acid. No, I'm just kidding. I've never done hard drugs. Don't do drugs.
Did you just make the straight edge thing? That doesn't count if you're doing weed.
Yeah,
Sure it does. If it's legal.
you've already broken the rules.
Legal. And my number 6 is World of Warcraft.
Oh, yeah.
Just put so many hours into it through high school. I started at launch, like, what was it, 2001? Was it 2001?
2004.
World of Warcraft was my number 18. Yeah.
Just like my favorite part was just going in and exploring. And you didn't like if you were level 1, like you could go to those areas and like you were gonna die. But I love the exploring. I love the world PvP, even though sometimes it gets toxic. The world. I think through Burning Crusade is when I played religiously. And
Pyroblast, presence
so
of mind, Pyroblast.
I never played a rogue,
PvP
and rogue always
solved.
pissed me off. Yeah. So that's my top. It's my 6 through 10.
Cool. Do you have to dip out like really soon?
I've got 3 minutes. I
3
did
minutes.
get my top 5. So
Okay, give us all your top 5 as like a sneak peek on next week's top 5 episode.
As I'm gonna give you my top 5, and y'all can argue about it for the next hour.
Sure.
I don't care.
My number 5 is Half-Life 2 and the expansions. I'm including those as a bundle.
Episodes 1 and 2, yeah.
It pisses me off that it's not finished, but fantastic worlds, great story, awesome. Like I can still go back and play it, and it feels really good. It still feels good. I mean, I play with like HD mods or whatever, but still feels like a great game. And
have you played Alex?
I have played Alex with my Quest 2.
Does that not? I haven't played Alex at all. I have it, but I don't have a VR unit. Does that not address like the not episode 3 thing?
I don't think it does.
No, because
Oh,
it's a
interesting.
prequel, I think, to 2.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Wild. Okay.
I don't quite have, my ceilings are low. I don't quite have enough room to be comfortable, so I played like a couple hours of it, but I'm gonna wait until I move to a place that's got more room. But Half-Life 2, when it leaked, was the first game I ever downloaded on IRC. I did download the Half-Life 2 leak on IRC. Dude, it was like I was in middle school, and this 8th grader told me about IRC, and I downloaded it, and it was
/J.
Man.
What was it? DTCX or what was the
It was like
I think is what you're
XTCS
looking
or
for.
whatever. Something like that.
Yeah, it's been received.
Yeah.
Number 4, Pokemon Heart Gold.
Oh.
Really, it's gold, but like Heart Gold is just better.
The better one, yeah.
It's my favorite generation. It was the last
And that's
Pokemon
the only one I haven't
game.
beaten. Man, I gotta get on this.
Gold and Silver were freaking great.
It's the last generation where I know all the Pokemon. I feel like before they got, it's kind of stupid. Before they got into like ice cream cones and shit, like I feel like that was the last generation before they're like, shit, we got to make one out of a baseball cap. Like,
Vanillux
maybe not.
and
I don't know.
Klefki and all those nonsense ones, yeah.
My top 3, under the top 3, and these I think lean a lot on, they were just, I played them at the age where I had the time to put hours and hours and hours and hours and hours into them. Counter-Strike 1.6, specifically 1.6.
Hell yeah!
I just put so many hours into. I wish I had a 144 hertz monitor. I don't think that like the net ticks like would have mattered. I don't think it would have helped, but I was in like clan, and we played.
And so was I.
We played competitive games, and
my clan's name was Strike Force, and my designation was SF Mad Cats.
Mad Cats. I don't remember what my name was.
Because that was from Mech Warrior. The Mad Cat was like the iconic mech, and so that was what I took my name from. I was SF Mad Cats.
I thought you just really like controllers.
Yeah, I thought you just really like the controllers or whatever.
No, it might have been just SF Mad Cat, but FM4D. So it was dash =SF =dash M4D C4T.
Ow. How do you even remember that?
It was leet speak,
but it was a lot easier.
You get what I'm. Hold on, that's gonna be one of the episode titles. Hold on.
Leet speak.
It was just $1 one shot kill, and it was.
We had
custom sprays. We had custom sprays. It was mess with the best, die like the rest.
Oh my god,
that's fucking great.
But it was, dude. We were playing Cal. Was it Cal M? It was like not the invite only one. It was, I don't know. We were pretty good. 1.6 also had like the custom sprays were awesome. I loved when you could spray like a counter terrorist or whatever on a wall, and you'd turn and think it was a counter terrorist and shoot, and then it was great. A lot of good mods. Like low gravity mods were great. Warcraft mods were great. Just a fantastic game. Diablo 2, Lord of Destruction.
Oh.
I mean, like with the expansion, the whole game. Like, I put thousands of hours into it. So
wait, is that number 2?
Yeah,
that's number 2.
Okay.
Diablo 2. I love it. Everything. Love it through and through. It was my childhood.
Did you get the remaster?
Did.
Do you like it?
I didn't want to. I really didn't want to, because I was like, Blizzard piece of shit. But I was like,
yeah,
I can't not do it. I'm sorry. So I used the excuse of like, I pre-ordered it before.
I mean, I did that too, but I didn't play it.
Yeah.
I'll wait.
It's okay. We still love you.
I played like 2 hours. I played like an hour of it. It's beautiful. It's amazing. They redid the cinematics. Oh my god, that's awesome. My number 1, and I don't know how many of you played this. Deus Ex, the original Deus Ex.
Ooh,
I didn't play the original.
I did not.
So this is an immersive sim that a lot of people have tried to turn me on to, because I really like Dishonored. And this was like one of the original ones of those. I don't know if Thief counts in this like genre, but I know that like
I think it does. Yeah.
There is like there is a genre of like I've heard some people refer to them as like 4851 games, where it's like which is like that's one of like the common like passwords in these games, like when you're trying to get into places. In fact, such to the point that like I think you get a trophy in Deathloop for trying to enter 4851 as one of the passwords in these games.
Wait, is Deathloop like that? Deathloop like a
kind of.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check it out.
You should play it. It's very good.
It was the first game where it was like literally you had an objective. You started on this part of the map, and you had to get inside a building on this side of the map. And it was, I wonder if I can do this. And you tried it and you could do it. And it like I did that a lot in Breath of the Wild. A lot different in this, like you couldn't scale walls and shit, but you could go, there's a sewer hatch over here. I can go in that if I can like disarm, if I have a high level of disarming skill or whatever, I can hack into this computer and get past this thing. Like it's just the first game where each level is like you had 4 different ways to go in, or 5 different ways to go in, and you could replay it 5 times and not have the same experience.
That's great. Awesome.
I think it's got some HD mods.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I've heard really, really great things about Deus Ex. That's one of the game series that I'm the most like, this is probably my shit, but I bounced off of, what is it, Human Revolution?
Human Revolution, yeah.
I really like Human Revolution, actually. I played that one. The sequel, not as much, but that first one.
I bounced off of that
I'm a
one
big fan of it.
because I tried to play it like a shooter, and they're like, "No, you can't do this. You're gonna get killed." And I was like, "Well,
no,
I
you
don't know."
can. I played the whole game as like a hacker who just snuck around.
Okay, that's different than a shooter,
Yeah.
which is just
Sounds
I try to run
amazing.
into a room and shoot
Oh.
people, and I fucking died instantly.
I had that backwards. No, I thought you. I think you. I think you can because I feel like I played a good amount of it like that. I don't know.
Well, I tried it in the intro, and I got fucking destroyed.
Did you play the original release or did you play like
Yeah.
when they did the re-release, like the remastered one where they redid the boss fights?
No, I did the original version.
Okay, because
I've got the.
there's the newer version that you can get that I think is the only version you can get now. Like redoes the boss fights to add passive, like options in there and stuff.
Anyway, we're talking about the original Deus Ex.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I bounced off it too. I don't know. I've got a 3080. I tried to play it recently, one of the newer Deus Exes on PC, and it just ran like shit.
Oh,
And I was just
Wow.
like, I just can't. I know it's weird, right? Like I can crank a lot of things on it, just ran like shit. So, I guess before I go, it's just my top 5 again were Half-Life 2 plus expansions, Pokemon Heart Gold, which I might even move up one more to like 3. Counter-Strike 1.6, Diablo 2, Lord of Destruction, Deus Ex. No memes in my top 5.
No
for
memes.
You beautiful boys.
we appreciate you and your honesty,
Mhm.
giving us the soul essence of Andrew Wolf.
I'm so pleased to have you on, Wolf, on this one, and it's been an absolute joy. Thank you for being a big part of this show as we approach episode 200 next week. And you always hold a special place in my heart, my friend. And I can't wait
Yes,
until I get to see
congrats.
you again and give you a big old hug.
Congrats on the 200 episodes, fellers. It's been a long road.
Fellers.
And I've enjoyed being on. Appreciate it.
Heck
Thanks.
All right, I'm
Thank you,
leaving.
sir.
I'm leaving now.
Get
Hey,
out of
Wolf,
here.
You follow me on Nintendon't. I need more followers. Always need more followers.
Yeah.
Use
Yeah,
those
give 'em-
affiliate
give 'em
links.
some-
Get that bread.
I gotta catch up to Wario. He's over 1 million now. It's insane. Nintendo, Amiibo alerts, Andrew alerts. Peace, bitches.
Later, man.
And
Bam.
with that, he was gone.
Like
What
a
a
fart in the
champion.
wind.
Like a turd
Like tears,
in the wind.
like tears in the rain.
Like
Like
tears
a
in the
fart
rain.
wind. Wolf was gone.
That's funny.
Love that boy.
He's a good boy. Anyway, what now?
Brian, I
What
believe
were we
we're
on?
at number 8.
Oh, Jesus Christ, were we really? Okay. Is it my 8?
It is your 8.
Okay, it is my 8. My 8 is The People Have Been Waiting for It, and here it is.
Have they?
Super Mario 3D Land. Super Mario 3D Land is the best.
It's a good game.
3D Mario game. It might be the best Mario game. Real talk.
Debatable.
Debatable for sure.
Debatable.
And
I'm gonna go fill my water.
Okay.
I did think about putting Super Mario 3D World in here plus Bowser's Fury because that is also an exceptional collection of games. However, I do think that Super Mario 3D Land slightly edges it out on being the perfect adaptation of what is great about 2D Mario games into the 3D space. It's just an exceptional game, and I'm, not one to really do this, but I 100% of that game like 2 or 3 times. I just made a new save slot and went through and got all the star coins again, and then went through after I beat the. When you beat the game, you can unlock Luigi, and then you can play through all of those levels as Luigi. You get like when you get into the special levels, you can get like the stone raccoon, which lets you do everything that you can do with the raccoon suit, but you can also turn to stone and drop on people and become invincible and these sorts of things. It's just a masterful Mario game. It brings the best of what is good about the kind of short, The biggest difference between Mario 2D games that are amazing and Mario 3D games that are amazing, well,
It's the variety.
The thing that is different between Mario 2D games and Mario 3D games is typically ignoring 3D Land and 3D World, which do the 2D thing. 2D Mario games have levels that are more like sprints, and 3D Mario games have levels which are like, let me explore the space and find things. It's much more like an RPG where you're exploring the space. And that bite-sized 2D nature and like very digestible, very repeatable, you can chase the scores if you want to, you can just blast through it if you want to, is the thing that I think makes 2D Mario games better than most Mario 3D games. Like Odyssey, I don't enjoy as much. I had fun with that game. I got every Power Moon in that game except for one, but I enjoyed it as a 3D game, not as a Mario game. Whereas Mario 3D Land and Mario 3D World, I enjoy as Mario games, which are get to the flagpole at the end, get the stuff while you're on your way there, but like, don't worry about it. Like, just blast through it and these sorts of things. Mario 3D Land, I think, is the best that the 2D precision platformer has ever been adapted to 3D. As I said before, an argument could be made for 3D World, but I wanted to put 3D Land here because I feel like 3D World gets a lot of love and 3D Land is still, I think, just an absolute fucking 10 out of 10, and I don't think it gets as much recognition as it deserves. It is trapped on 3DS. Hopefully it will come to Switch at some point in some sort of remastered version. That would be absolutely incredible. I would love that. But that is my number 8.
Toy. My number 8 is Tetris Effect Connected.
Oh, second mention of this game this episode.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, this is like one of the most beautiful games I've ever played, I think. It combines not only just like great art direction and music, but also just like really great gameplay. Its multiplayer modes are very different from other Tetris games, especially the ones where it's like 3v1.
Oh my god, that one is so good.
Yeah, like and they're timed events. They only happen on the weekends, I think it is, unless they've changed it. At least that's how it was at launch. But the excitement.
Didn't they give this away on Epic Game Store?
They gave the regular version away on Epic Game Store. That has like traditional multiplayer in it. But the like just loop and hype that like mindset that I can get myself into whenever I'm playing this game. Multiplayer is the closest thing. It's probably better for me than like Dragon Ball Fighterz, like of just like trying to edge out the competition and like be that much better than the other player. It's just like this. I don't know. It's that thing I love to come home to, where it's like I may not know what to play, or if like the day is starting to wind down. It's always funny. I got myself in this habit where if we have people over and like I'm ready for them to leave, I don't realize I do it, but I just start playing this game. And it's just like the sign that like, oh, Chris wants to go to bed and he's playing Tetris.
Fun fact, did you guys see this thing that I don't know if it came out this week, but I saw it this week, where Tetris helps people deal with trauma? Did you see this?
No.
There's a study
I don't doubt it though.
There's a study that came out where like physical help and therapy, like if you like really, really helps, and there's not really a replacement for that. But if you can't get that, like if you have PTSD or if you've been like a car accident, like play Tetris because it helps. It really, really helps your brain deal with recent trauma. And I was like, that is amazing. What an awesome thing. There are so many things that come out where it's like video games help people who are doing physical therapy. Video games help people who have Alzheimer's. And now it's a very clear point of like Tetris, one of the best-selling games of all time, one of the best games of all time. Like indisputably, Tetris is one of the best games of all time. Actually helps your brain process trauma in a way that gives your body and your mind kind of some breathing room.
I mean, being completely candid, like there have definitely been some points, especially over COVID, where like I was not in a great state, and it is one of those like it's almost like a meditative thing for me, where I will consistently go back to it. Yeah,
the Tetris effect. The name of that game is derived from the fact that people would play the original Tetris and then would have dreams where it was just the shapes.
Yeah.
Coming down, or like they would close their eyes and they would see this. Like the Tetris effect is a thing that happens when you play Tetris.
Yeah, I've had it. I've had it many times. No, it's a very therapeutic game. It's very easy to pick up and very difficult to really master. You know, as Wolfie kind of alluded to. Tetris 99. While I love that game, I play that game you have to be in a competitive mindset to play it. This is the type of thing where, like, if you want to take your time with it and just kind of zen out and, play something that, like, maybe lets you get your thoughts in order and sort some things out in your mind. I think Tetris does it unlike any other game that I've ever played. And it continues to be that way.
Two sides of an amazing coin.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that is my number 8. Tetris Effect Connected. Catch the Fever.
Cool. Josh, what is your number 8?
Super Mario All-Stars Plus World.
Hey, that was where was it? That was my number 13.
Specifically Plus World, because
exactly.
World is my favorite Mario Bros game. I don't know why I called it Mario Bros game. I could have just called it Mario. It's my favorite Mario game.
My favorite Mario Bros game.
Remember
Not
Mario
counting
Bros?
Mario Golf, Mario Party, Mario Tennis.
Remember that guy? Mario World is my favorite Mario game. However,
my favorite game where Mario admits that he has a brother.
I like the other. Yeah. What? I like the other ones too. And in All Stars Plus World, you get it's like 4 games in this one cartridge, and it's 4 of the best games ever made, just pushed into one cartridge somehow. And you're like, all right.
And then an extra game, Lost Levels.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it's like 5 Mario games, just pushed together.
Yeah, I talked about this one last week. It's a great choice. Arguably the greatest cart ever made. Like probably. I think it's better than Orange Box for sure.
Orange Box wasn't a cartridge.
Yeah.
You get what I mean. Like the best, like if you buy one SKU and you get multiple things. I think Super Mario World Plus All-Stars or Super Mario All-Stars Plus World is like, come on, it can't be beat.
It's the business.
It's real good.
Is that all you had to say about that one?
That's it. It is what it is. It's Mario World.
Well, what is there more to say about Mario?
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's true. Okay, my number 7, ladies and gentlemen, is Final Fantasy X Remaster.
A
game I've seen a lot of.
I'm sure you have.
Best version of a game that was incredibly formative. As we've talked about in previous weeks, I took fashion cues from my boy Titus. I got my 3.
Made me laugh so hard. I'm not gonna lie. Editing, I'm like, oh my god, Brian was like one of those guys.
That's true. I mean, now I will say, while that was all happening, I was also living on an island, the island of Singapore. So I very powerfully related, which, like Titus, an island I was not from and was full of a lot of different cultures and things that I was getting to know. There was a lot of stuff in my life that was very similar to Titus from the game. I instead of playing blitzball, I was a big skateboarding guy. Like I had my sport.
He grinded on poles, close enough.
Yeah, like I am a blonde guy who loved the beach, who was into extreme sports, who was living on an island that he was not from, that he was transplanted to against his will.
How do you feel about your father, though?
I feel very good about my dad. My dad is awesome. So
we broke it.
That's where we diverge past. But it is. I cannot overstate how much I related to this main character. I am a very happy-go-lucky, like very try to make the best of things, try to be optimistic type of person, which is very much the way that Titus is. which is different than previous Final Fantasy main characters like Cloud or Squall or Cecil, who are all kind of like morose, kind of stoic figures. Tidus is very much a happy guy who is trying to make the best of things, who is trying to cheer up the people around him. I related to him in an incredibly powerful way. And that was also the first Final Fantasy that had voice acting in it. And I absolutely loved it. I thought it was just masterful. The gameplay, as we've decided, is like the best. Like true turn-based combat is the best the series has been, perhaps. If we're talking about turn-based, like this way of doing things, where you see the enemy's turns and things, and you make decisions based on that, is like the best way to do it. The sphere grid lets you specialize, but then generalize and do whatever you want and make the characters what you want them to be.
Sphere grid is so good.
It's so good. The optional bosses are like very much in line and in keeping with the series. The graphics are great. Like the gameplay is great. The voice acting is great. Like it's awesome. Like there are memes that have come out of this, like the laughing scene, but like those being awkward is kind of the point of them. Like there's so much to this game. It's so deep and there's so much going into it. It's my favorite Final Fantasy game.
Remember, that time I convinced IGN to get Kevin Conroy to laugh like Tidus in the laughing
Nope.
I
scene.
don't remember that. I
don't remember that.
There's a video of it on. I'll find it. I'll send it to you guys.
That's awesome.
It's awful to watch because like he does a great job, but it's like I just hate that.
But
scene.
it's terrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is awful.
But you
But like
can
that's
think like I did this.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
god, what have I done?
But yeah, like it's the the world of Spira, the things that it does, the way that it tackles like racism and like kind of implicit bias and religiousness and like my relation with religion. It touched so many aspects of who I am and who I was trying to become. And seeing kind of my own journey as a world traveler and things like this echoed in Tidus's journey was very, very powerful for me. And I will never forget that. And then to have that remastered and brought up to PlayStation 4 and even Xbox, like it was on Game Pass. I don't know if it still is.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, but like you can experience these games. And X2 is good for its own reasons, but Final Fantasy X is really... I enjoyed the other games, but nothing really resonated with me as powerfully as Final Fantasy X. And so for that reason, Final Fantasy X Remaster is my 7th favorite game of all time.
My number 7, The Last of Us Part 2.
Hell yeah, that's a fucking great game, dude.
Yeah, dude. We have a 3-hour discussion as to all the amazing things that happen in this game. This is another one that I like it that much. Or I like the franchise that much. It's on my body.
Chris is holding up his tattoos.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely go listen to our The Last of Us Part 2 spoiler cast if you play the game. It's a really good discussion.
It's my favorite episode we've ever recorded.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm just a nerd for these games. It's like a technical masterpiece. It's a masterpiece in storytelling. The way that it moved me at a time that the world was in such desperation, and I felt like I was able to connect with the characters that were in their own desperation as well. This is right at the height of COVID that this game released. There
was a lot of talk at the time about that being like a bad time to release the game, but I found that game we talked about this in the episode, but I found it so cathartic and soothing.
Yeah.
To be there, which doesn't make sense, but it really did.
Yeah.
It really was. It was special.
Yeah, there was something about it brought the connection to those characters to like a level that the original game didn't have, I think, because I hadn't lived through anything like that yet. But all that being said, I think the game improves upon pretty much every mechanic that's introduced in the first one. And not only that, but the level design and the combat scenarios that you come across in that game. and the way that you can interact with the environment and how like literally everything is interactable. Like pieces of paper fall from the ground and like will scrunch up, and you could pick up like the rope like was the one big thing that everybody when you throw it over like a fence or whatever, or I think it's a hose, I forget which one it is, but like it's the realest looking rope I've ever seen in a video game. Like there's just so much so much attention to detail in that game.
As I was doing, I'm sure you have the platinum as well, but like when I was like, wait a second, I can break through this window and then throw this rope over something and swing over to something else. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like, that's amazing.
There are almost like very small, like almost Metroidvania type moments in that game that are just like peppered throughout. That really, it makes you feel smart like when you're playing it.
Man, God help me if Naughty Dog ever makes a true Metroidvania, because that will probably become my favorite game of all time.
Yeah. The acting's incredible in it. I'm bewildered by the story in that game. I think and now we have the 60 FPS patch for PS5. I think the only reason that it's not higher on my list is because it is long, and I don't think it's long. It's not long in the sense that like they could have told the story in a shorter fashion. It's just like it's not the type of game that I'm just going to pop in and keep playing over and over again, partially because of how heavy it is. Like it is it's dark, heavy game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot in there.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons why it is so long, because the story that it tells and the things that it does to you, the viewer, take time to do properly.
Right.
And I feel like it does those things masterfully, but it does take time. Like with any good book, like there are books that are 300 pages, which is, a considerable amount of time, where an author can get you around to their perspective, but it takes time. And in games, it's trickier to do, but Naughty Dog actually did it. It just takes a minute.
Yeah.
So.
I think just from a pure replayability
standpoint. It doesn't go down easy though.
No, it doesn't. And it's not the type of thing like I think if I played like only that for a while, because there is so much dialogue and the way that like characters react, like the people you're attacking, things like that. Like it is just super realistic and dark.
You kill somebody, Chris.
Yeah, like they're like screaming their names and things. Like it's just it's not the happiest place on earth by any means.
It's difficult.
Yeah. But still, it's unlike anything I've ever played. I don't know if we'll ever get a game like it again, quite honestly. Like, I think Naughty Dog's next game, I don't know what it's going to end up being, but I would be very surprised if they did something that heavy and just like thick overall.
It's very.
There's just a lot of meat on that bone. But it's incredible, and everybody who's played the first one should absolutely play it, and don't listen to trolls on the internet because they're wrong. You're not allowed to not like the game, but at least give it a shot.
For sure. And I will say, and I felt kind of, I felt something about this while you were talking about this. I was thinking, I really do love The Last of Us Part 2. I really do think it is almost a perfect game. Why isn't it on my list? And I don't know why it's not on my list, and I don't know why The Last of Us Part 1 is, spoilers, not on my list. They probably should be, but I'm just gonna say that I didn't do it because I knew that Chris would.
That's valid.
I'm just gonna say that. I'm
valid.
gonna use that as my thing. But I absolutely do think I think a part of this is, and I talked about this about like not putting Metroid Dread or Deathloop on my list because of recency bias. I think that extends back to things like The Last of Us and The Last of Us Part 2. Like, I'm hesitant to, even though The Last of Us originally came out on PS3, so much of the games that I love are, immutable, static things. And like, I'm so hesitant to bump something off for something more recent. I think that if I was being honest, I think The Last of Us Part 2 would, like, if I really, really spent a lot of time and thought about it, I think that would probably be on my top 20 list. But I thought about a lot of things during this, but I did want to acknowledge that to say, like, I agree with you, and I think this is a truly transcendent gaming experience, just like the first Last of Us. But I think mechanically, part 2 is better.
It just takes it to a whole other level.
And honestly, story ways, I think that The Last of Us 2 is so much more ambitious.
Yeah.
And while it is so much more ambitious, it achieves everything it sets out to do, which I think is just fucking unbelievable.
Like
so
we didn't
impressive.
think they would, and then they did, I think it was more than what we thought it would be.
I talked about it on the show. I didn't think they should have done a sequel, and now I can't imagine a world where the sequel doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Which is just the highest praise to Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
On that, Josh, what is your number 7?
Pokemon Red and Blue.
Fuck yeah.
Hey!
I feel like you don't even need to say much for like people in our generation. You just know.
Yeah.
Like this thing was like the world.
This is
to
how I learned
everyone
how to
our
read.
age.
That's
Jeez.
awesome, dude. That's fucking awesome.
Like it's one of those games that like I'll return to now, and like I still have a lot of nostalgia for those original ones. I got a Bulbasaur on my desk. Like it's like of all the things that really stick with you, right? A lot you think back on stuff that you liked as a kid, and like most of it does not stick, right? Like it all kind of just goes by the wayside, or it's like over in a year or whatever. Pokemon has like transcended almost 2 decades and like multiple generations, and it's still here, and the people who liked it as kids, a lot of them still to this day still like it. I don't think you can say that about a lot of things, so
No,
I think
I agree.
it's like a powerful and very unique experience that still good. Still remember like all the glitches and all the crazy kooky crap you can do, and
Missing
Yeah.
No.
yeah, missing no all day, making like infinite rare candies. Just straight up having the worst base stats of like any Pokemon. All my Pokemon had like the worst base stats because they was just shoving rare candy down their throat. Yeah. Pokemon Red and Blue.
That music is like just drilled into my head. It's so good. Yeah. Yeah, those bosses.
My dog
those-
agrees.
Those Pokemon, like, iconic. Pokemon is, we talk a lot about Star Wars. We talk a lot about all Marvel and all this sort of stuff. Pokemon is the number one franchise, like number one property IP in the world for very good reason. And it started with Red and Blue.
Yeah.
And those games fucking rip ass. So yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. So is it to me, number 6?
It's to you.
Yep.
Last one.
My God, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. My 6th favorite game of all time is Dragon Ball Fighterz.
Wow.
I thought this would be higher. I really did.
It was higher, and then it got bumped down by what will be number 5 next week, which will be funny because it's a game that was mentioned this episode.
Oh.
But yeah, Dragon Ball Fighterz is the game that, while I really, really dived into Arc System Works' fighting games with Blaze Blue, all of the Blaze Blue games, the Persona 4 Arena games, P4A and Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, which I still truly, truly love. Dragon Ball Fighterz combined that with a property that meant a lot to me growing up, Dragon Ball Z, and the resurgence of Dragon Ball Super with the Dragon Ball series, which is what got me back into anime, what got me into reading manga, and what really, really got me caught up in the fighting game community in like more of a mainstream way. I really enjoyed playing Blaze Blue on my own and with my friends. I invited people over and I hosted my own fighting game tournaments with that game. I played Persona 4 Arena on my own, like playing through story mode and then playing like versus battles versus the PC. Dragon Ball Fighterz is the first game that I ever competed in. Not counting things like Counter-Strike where I like my clan would play another clan or something like that.
Like enter a proper tournament.
I entered a fighting game tournament. You can go watch my tournaments. Like I didn't do well, but I entered a no blocking Thursdays, which is now actually part of tournament locator. Like no blocking is now like a thing, like a bigger thing. They have a physical location in Dallas. But I competed in these tournaments. I started watching Bum's tournaments. Bum, what is it? 183, 186, something like that. Anyway, look up Bum and Team Spooky. I watched these Dragon Ball Fighterz tournaments. I got into the FGC. I got into watching tournaments, watching esports events, watching majors, learning about Sonic Fox, watching him fight Goichi. Like I got into the fighting game community because of Dragon Ball Fighterz. And even though I played different Arc System Works games, like I said, before Blaze Blue, P4A, and also Guilty Gear, Dragon Ball Fighterz was the one that took it to another level. This was the first fighting game that I truly, truly loved and wanted to play with anyone who would. I introduced so many people to this game and brought them over and was like, yo, check this out on the Xbox One. It looks amazing. Or play this with me on PS4 or PC. I reviewed this game for Nintendo on Switch. This is just an absolute masterful game. It is the combination of pure gameplay with just a license that speaks to a lot of people and has spoken to a lot of people for a very long time. Chris knows I've loved this game for a long time. We've played this game together. And it has gotten better and better over time. And now, in the latest balance patch, you can truly play a team of 3 characters that are just 3 characters that you love, and you can make it work. It's truly impressive what they have done with this game. There are a lot of characters in this game, and you can play whoever you want in basically whatever order you want and make it work. And for a competitive fighting game that is at majors, that has had world tours, that's really difficult to do. Like, there are no bad characters in this game now. And Street Fighter can't say that, and a lot of other games can't say that. But this game has come a very long way from when it came out. It's introduced a lot of great characters, and it's been truly fantastic to experience it. And it goes on sale all the time on Steam for like $5 or $8 or something like that. So if you have any interest whatsoever in fighting games or in Dragon Ball, check this out because it is so easy to get into. But at the same time, with certain characters, the skill ceiling is so high. There's so much that you can do in this game. There's so much self-expression in how you play the game, which assists you choose, what your team is like, how you like what your game plan is. It's awesome. I didn't think that I could be into fighting games like this until this game came out. And this is my favorite fighting game of all time. And as long as I can find other people to play with in it, I'm never going to stop playing this game. So.
Sick.
Nice.
That's my number 6. Chris, what's your number 6?
Number 6 is God of War 2018.
Oh.
Yeah. This is a game that, especially if you play it now on the PS5, like, goddamn. It is, I think it's the best PS4 game. Which the fact that, it's the second best PS4 game. You'll find out why. Third best PS4 game. It's, it was such a great reboot of that franchise. It was one of those games that just like, it came out at a great time, and I was able to play it in such a way that like just uninterrupted, where I was really just able to get like locked into it for like an entire weekend. Jess had gone to a bachelorette party, and I had nothing else to do, and this was all I did for like 2 days straight. 100% of the game in like a week, defeated all the Valkyries.
That last Valkyrie fight was pretty rough.
Yeah, but like it was the closest I've ever gotten to playing almost like a Souls-like game and just feeling like an absolute badass by the end of it.
I was about to make that comparison actually, so I'm glad that you did, because that is 100% valid.
Yeah. I think the way that it tells its story, it all being one shot,
So cool.
Yeah, I think it's so cool. We've never had anything like that before. The acting
it's a different genre, but I feel like the level of mastery is similar to what you would see in The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah. The acting in it is like unbelievable. I think it's some of the best that we've like seen in games ever. Chris Judge is just like such an intimidating Kratos, but like, intimidating but also soft. He just has this hard exterior, but deep down he also, I think, really cares for his son and
you really see
wants to train him to be a strong, warrior. I don't know what's going on with my hair.
You really see, especially as someone who is a father now, you really see, and I felt this before I had a child of my own. You see it in him. He is fucking terrified that Atreus will turn out like he did.
Right.
He is absolutely terrified that he will make the same mistakes with Atreus that Zeus made with him.
Yeah.
And he is absolutely resolute that he will not do that. And you see that with his strong reprimands of Atreus when he's like, no, you do not do that. We are like, because there's a whole section of the game where Atreus becomes a real fucking asshole. And he's like, no, we do not do this as we like, and Atreus is basically like, we're gods. Like, what do we care? We could just be however we want. He's like, no, we cannot do that because we are gods. We have to be better.
Yeah.
We have to be better.
You have to respect the power, not abuse it.
Yes. And that is the lesson that great gods teach you.
Right.
Is that excess is not justified by deity. You have to be better than that.
Right.
And that is a lesson that Kratos learned the fucking hardest way possible.
Yeah.
And his relationship with Atreus is like, it's magical. Like, it's just outstanding.
Yeah.
It's truly, truly exceptional.
Yeah. I think the other two things I wanted to bring up, the large, like, just set pieces and creatures in this game, like the dragon that you fight. There's like the giant.
Find the giant's corpse? Holy shit.
The giant's corpse, the giant turtle. The scale of just some of and the detail on some of these creatures is like
Jormungandr?
just insane.
Like...
Yeah.
You mean Jormungandr?
Jormungandr.
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 That was like the quesadilla of Norse myth.
You'd think that I'd be able to pronounce it because I am Nordic.
The other thing I wanted to say is the quiet moments in this game are some of my favorite in any game ever. Or quiet, or just like more calm. When you're just when you're on the boat with Mimir and he's just telling you a story and you just stop what you're doing to listen. Like, there aren't many games that like have just background filler and lore dumps in them that I'm that interested in. It's something that I wish like Destiny did more, where they would just be like, oh, we're you're traveling from point A to B, we're actually going to give you some more exposition that you actually care about, not just like, oh, this guy did a thing and he's bad.
Man, if your ghost was like Mimir, holy shit.
That's what I mean.
So
like,
good.
Give me that kind of
You say that, but he did do that.
He did do that, and then maybe I just stopped caring. I don't know.
I think the difference is that Norse myth is just inherently interesting.
Yeah, that's also true.
Maybe. But yeah, like the just having Mimir with you, telling you these stories in his like fantastically kind of soothing accent, and all you hear is like the soft, paddling of the oars in the water.
Yeah.
And you're just moving, just the lapping of the water on the side of the canoe. Like, it's just, I am a person who grew up on the West Coast. And so I spent a lot of time on the beach and hearing the waves kind of wash over. So water is like very, very soothing to me. So like those sections were like, it was like falling asleep. It was like coming home, that sort of thing. Like being in boats, like being on, on the water, feeling the water, hearing the water around you is like very, very powerful to me. So that even the more, all the more so.
Yeah. And the last thing I want to bring up is if you've never played this game, or if you have a PS5 and maybe you haven't revisited it since 2018, definitely try it on PS5 just to see how it runs. The 60 FPS patch in it, with like 4K upscaling. Like, it's
Holy
absurd.
shit.
Like it's absurd. Like the game looks and runs so beautifully.
I can't wait for Ragnarok.
Yeah, like I'm very excited for Ragnarok. If I didn't have, if I had more time and had, didn't have a bunch of other things that I wanted to play, I would absolutely replay this game. But yeah, it just hit at the right time, and I absolutely love it. So that is my number 6.
That's dope. Josh, what is your number 6?
Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Hey.
I have a lot of nostalgia and just fond memories of that game. It wasn't my first Zelda game. I think my first Zelda game was The Legend of Zelda. But I just freaking loved that game. I didn't have an N64, and I had the strategy guide for Ocarina of Time.
I love that.
That's how deep my love of it went.
I played that whole game at my friend's house because he had a 64 and I never did. So it was I played Smash Brothers, Mario Kart 64, and Ocarina of Time at his house.
Yeah, I had a PlayStation, and my best friend had an N64, and so I would go to his house and play it. And my cousin also had an N64, so I'd play it over there too. But just it's freaking great, man. It's I mean, it's probably got I haven't played it in years, so I bet it has some rough edges in certain areas, but it's awesome.
Did you play the 3DS version?
I actually didn't.
Oh,
I've seen it.
If you
It
ever
looks
want to
good.
revisit it, you should try it on Citra on PC.
yeah.
Okay.
It runs very well.
And the 3DS version, I would say, is the definitive version of that game.
Yeah.
If they put the 3DS, that and Majora's Mask on Switch,
Hell
that
yeah.
would be great.
Not gonna happen.
I mean, probably not, but
Not now. Not with Switch Online. They definitely won't. There's no reason to.
wow. Oh, with the N64
With the N64
stuff.
collection, they're just like, shut the fuck up. It's over
Yeah.
there. Go play it there.
The poor man's version of this game. is
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
yeah.
They don't have to reconfigure the menu system and all that crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either way, great game.
Yeah.
Love it.
It really is. It really is. Well, that's top 10 to top 6. Next week, episode 200. And we're going to talk about our top 5 games of all time. And our guest has confirmed next week we will be joined by IGN's Mitchell Saltzman
Hey.
for
What
episode
a good boy.
Love him.
200. And Josh, you better fucking be here.
I'll be here.
But
Come
yeah,
hell or high water.
yeah. But yeah. So to quickly recap, as one Andrew Wolf did, my 10 to 6 is Bloodborne plus the Old Hunters, Dark Souls 3 plus the Fire Fades edition, Super Mario 3D Land, Final Fantasy X Remaster, and Dragon Ball Fighters. Chris, what was your 10 to 6?
The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D, Uncharted the Nathan Drake Collection, Tetris Effect Connected, The Last of Us Part 2, and God of War 2018.
Gosh.
Portal, Dota 2, Super Mario All-Stars Plus World, Pokemon Red and Blue, and then Ocarina of Time.
Oh yeah. So that's it. Get hyped for top 5 next
Top
week.
5 is all bangers. Bangers
Top five?
all the way down.
Bangers all around.
It really is. It really is. I'm so excited to share all of our top 5s next week and talk a little bit to Mitch about Metroid Dread because apparently he and I feel very differently about this game. But did we want to talk about anything else before we wrap?
Josh, do you need to go? Like
I mean, pretty soon,
okay.
but I mean, it depends. What do you got?
We can wait and actually Wolf floated this idea earlier and I haven't talked about it with any of you. We can do a Dread spoiler cast if you want. If Chris, if you're gonna finish the game.
I'm going
or
to finish
what
it.
have
I
you.
just don't know when because of the wedding. It's like every day I have to do something else. I'm like, oh, I'm done. I'm not done. Yeah.
We can schedule a spoiler cast if we want to do that and really dive deep into it. I think it's tough to get into the amount of depth that I would want to while doing.
We should do that for your
optimal
sake.
stuff. Okay.
Because I know how big of a deal that game is for you. I do want to talk
really-
about Nickelodeon, though.
It really is. You do want to talk about that this week?
I would like to. It won't take
Okay.
long.
Okay.
So
Josh, do you have time for that before we
Sure.
before we wrap? Okay.
So the the Spark Notes version I will give you is that if you have seen Mitch's review on IGN of this game, he echoes literally, like, he hit every beat of like every thought that I had. I haven't had that happen with a review in like maybe ever, where I was like, "Yup." He like the lack of voice acting.
It's really interesting to me to be in a fighting game Discord with him and Ronnie as they're playing this game and formulating their thoughts, and then see these reviews come out.
Yeah.
Like, it's very interesting.
I mean, it also like it echoes a lot of the same problems that I had and continue to have with like Nick Kart Racers 2. Which like I know we meme and joke about, but like it has almost all of the same problems that game did. There is no voice acting. A lot of the levels that are used, like some of them, you know, are okay uses of the source material. A lot of them are pretty uninspired. There are no alt costumes in this game for any of the characters. So like if two people want to be Patrick, they just look the same. The only difference is like the color of the icon above their player character.
They highlighted that with Reptar in a way that I thought was really interesting.
Yeah. There are no items in this game. It's strictly, you know, items off. There's no
It's all
story
Omega
mode
or whatever.
Yeah. There's no story mode. It's only arcade, like regular battle mode. There's a sports mode, and online. I will say I think online is the strongest piece of this game. I think the community itself, if this game has any shot of getting better and actually being supported, unlike you know, Nick Kart Racers was, it will be the community behind it. I think if the people that are behind it now continue to stay behind it and really love it, I think it has a shot of actually like making it another year where they add some DLC characters. Right now the roster's only 20 deep, and some of them are it's pretty unbalanced. Some are like way OP compared to the other characters, to the point where like
I've heard Aang is like ridiculous.
Well, and it also depends on what type of fighter you are. Like Aang is very good. I'm very good with him against CPU. I'm not good with him against real players, because his moveset like lends itself well to like very predictable behavior, if that makes sense. But like I think Sandy is like one of the best. Sandy Cheeks from SpongeBob. I think she's my favorite character in the whole game, at least so far from everybody that I've played. She just has a lot of like really good.
Meanwhile, Smash is out here with once
Sora.
Sora is added 82 characters.
Yeah. And I mean, it's hard to even make the comparison, right? Of like,
Yeah.
you know, you have this game, it's their first time out on the block, and Smash is out here like, you know, we're the best one around, and we invented the genre. That being said, though, I think I am having a ton of fun with it. Like, it's been really great going in and doing arcade mode with each character and kind of learning their move sets, seeing who I like and I don't like. There are very obvious flaws that I won't get too deeply into, and if you are interested, definitely go watch that review, because like Mitch can explain it way better than I can, and I haven't played in a few days, so I honestly don't remember a lot of it. But there are just very easy ways to break the game right now that I think they just need to tweak. But all of that being said, like, it is a fun game. It suffers from the same problem that other game did, where it just doesn't have a soul. Like, it all feels very thin, and it's like, yes, we have these licensed characters and everything and all this material, and we're using like 50% of it, and they haven't said why. Like, there's no good explanation as to why it's like just this like surface layer of like, yeah, you got the bare minimum of what this game could be, and it all functions. But, like, you just need that little bit of finesse that, like, Dragon Ball Fighterz has, where, like, you know, it has those cutscenes from the show where, like, you know, maybe two characters, when they enter a stage, like, they have an exchange that's, like, super funny, like, and they're reacting
like
to
Cell
each
and
other.
Teen Gohan on the Cell Arena.
Right. Like, there's
and then you get a dramatic finish with Super Saiyan Goku and Broly or something.
Right. Like, there's none of that in this game. It's very, like, the character intro starts, it's literally text, and it's just, like, oh, I ripped my pants from SpongeBob, and then like,
Yeah.
Sandy will just be like, oh, I know karate, and then they just like fight. Like,
It's I actually watched a stream of Maximilian Dude going to this game, and he was just commenting on it as he went through arcade mode, and he was just like some of them were like repeat things where it was just like he was playing Leonardo or something, and he was like, Master Splinter said like a weapon isn't everything, or so, it was like some nonsense like that. And it was just like they would be like different ones, and then he would do like a fight against somebody different, and then it would have like the same quote, and it's like, okay, well, this is not like, this is okay, but it's not like
it could be so much better.
Yeah.
Like if they had another like year maybe to really try and crank this out, because it seems like from the time that this game was announced to the time that it actually came out,
pretty close. Yeah.
I think they realized how excited people were for it, and then they pushed the date up. Is my guess. Because from a lot of the comments that like the developers have made and like the community managers made, it sounds like there was a lot that didn't make it to release that they're now like, well, we'll make a DLC maybe someday.
That's a real shame.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of like announcer voices and like level images and things like that from a data mined from the game, where they add like Tommy Pickles and Eliza Thornberry and a couple other characters that just aren't here. So I think if you're somebody who's interested in it, I would pick it up, especially if you have a PC. Wario's been tweeting some sales of it for like $30. It's definitely worth that, especially if you let yourself, if that's what you like, you let yourself really get into it.
Did you get it on PlayStation or PC?
I got it on both, because I thought you were going to get it somewhere, and I saw it on sale, so I just got it. But that's not.
If you want to play it, I'll pick it up.
That's not to guilt you at all. It was just I was like, oh, I'll get it wherever, so Brian doesn't have to feel like pigeonholed to something.
I appreciate you, man. You're the GOAT.
Yep. But like I am enjoying myself with it for sure. But it's such a tough sell, because it's like it's fun, but it's not Smash. It doesn't have that polish. Like, you have to go into it expecting that.
What it has up on Smash is better netcode.
It does.
Yeah.
I mean, it's rock solid. Like, I had the first night I played it for like 5 hours, and 2 of it was spent online. I thought like 30 minutes went by, and I looked down, it was midnight. I was like, holy shit. Like,
yeah.
How did that happen?
I'm up for it. I just need to make sure I have enough cash,
Well, yeah.
And Metroid Dread was definitely a higher priority for me.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, I mean, this is a game that I'm going to be, it's going to be a slow chase. It's an easy platinum. It's a slow chase to that platinum. That, I'll just like pop in, play, a round or an arcade mode run or whatever, or 2, and then bounce out.
Very interesting, because Melty Blood Type Lumina just came out as well. Another fighting game that came out around the same time as Nickelodeon, what is it? All Stars Battle?
All Stars Brawl. Or okay. All-Star Brawl.
Yeah. And one of the things that I heard people say is like, Melty Blood's netcode is actually pretty good, but it's best on PC. And so I know that the fighting game community is typically navigating towards either PlayStation for like official sponsored events and stuff, like even for Dragon Ball FighterZ, which is arguably better overall online on PC, and is definitely just competitively frame input lag version better on PC, and the same for Guilty Gear. PlayStation is still the stock kind of competitive platform. But PC is also where people go when they really want to have, the best connections. So I didn't know if that was going to be a thing, but I'll get it wherever we can get it if we want to play together. I do actually, because of the announcement of Sora, I do actually want to try to play Smash. I'm not sure if I can do that and have it like perform well at all, but I do want to try it. But yeah, I'm up for it. So
cool.
I'm glad that you like it. You've been not a stand for Game Mill, but like you've said, hey, they've got something here, even if it's not like polished as it could be.
Well, yeah, it's like
it should be.
Every at least the last 2 games they've put out, I should say, or the last 2 Nickelodeon games, like they're so almost there, and it's like they either need more time, more resources, or more manpower or creativity. I don't even know what it is, but it's just like
Yeah.
you're so close to everyone being like, "Holy shit, this game's great." I think the gameplay is what makes this one stand out from the fact that it is a competent Smash fighter, and we don't get a lot of those. And
I
that's
think the last decent one we had was like PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale.
it was that, or there was a TMNT one on Wii. I don't know which one came out last, but like I think you're talking 2 generations ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Vita and PS3.
Yeah.
Or Wii.
Yeah.
So, but that's cool.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
Sick.
Would you give it the coveted platformers Catch the Fever award?
Absolutely
or
not.
Would you? Okay.
I think it would be I call it catch the curiosity.
Catch the curiosity. There you go. All right. Well, shall we wrap?
Yeah.
Yes.
My name's Brian Barnett, and I'm here to say I'm closing out this episode in a major way.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm still coming down from that drink. That was a powerful drink. Holy shit.
Yeah, half a glass of vodka will do that to you.
It's true. It's true. But that's a great thing. Now, let me tell you, it is it is Zubrovka, or Zubrowka is how it looks on the page. Bison grass vodka and apple juice. I recommend an unfiltered apple juice. Like flash pasteurized, but it still has all of the kind of fibers of
guts
the
in
apple
it.
juice in there. That's the best apple juice right there.
Okay.
Don't get your Martinellis. Get if you can see through the apple juice, it's not good apple juice. It needs to be a murky tan brown. Oh, it's beautiful. So good. But yeah, just try that. 1-to-1 Zubrovka, bison grass, vodka, and apple juice. That shit is magical. And that is what I learned from the Polish at the Polish party at PAX West. And you would say, na zdrowie, before you toasted, because that's the cheer. That's the toast. So here you go, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 199. This is the last episode in the 100s that we will ever record.
Wild.
Next time you see us, it'll be 200. And we'll be joined by a special guest, and then we'll just be in the 200s. Thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us on the 5-year journey that this was. We've been around for a minute, and we really, really appreciate you. If there's anybody out there who's been listening since episode 2, since that was the first episode that we ever published, I think it was like Poke Doom Watch was the name of the first episode.
Oh yeah, it was when
episode 2.
Pokemon. Oh my god.
Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go.
Pokemon
God,
Go?
I always
Yeah.
said.
We gotta wrap this up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it's been a pretty crazy journey, and through this journey, we've all gotten into the games industry in a greater way, and we really appreciate you being part of this journey. So please hit us up on Twitter and let us know what you've thought about this crazy journey. You can find me at Ribnax, RIBNAX. You can find all of us corporately at Platformers Pod on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, and Instagram. And if you want to listen to my band, you can check out Long Live the Lights on Spotify. Our single Sirens is a bop, and so is Voice of Virtue, so check that shit out.
You can find me on Twitter at the Jawa Josh, and if you want to see the cool video essay stuff I'm working on, you can go to youtube.com/mediaismythic. I published a new video last week called Universal's Frankenstein's Commentary on Myth and Sin.
Nice.
And it took forever to make, so please go watch it.
You can find me on Twitter at Shrives93. I'm either ranting about the wedding or how much I love Bottasera, and that's usually it.
All he's about.
That's all I'm about these days.
Cool. Well, if you have thoughts or topics, hit us up. As I said, you can check out the stream of the episode on Twitch, twitch.tv/platformerspod. You can check out the archives at youtube.com/platformerspod. And please review us on your podcast platform of choice and share us with friends and family, because we don't advertise, and that's the only way we have to grow is word of mouth. Thank you so much for joining us for so many of these episodes. I'm so grateful to all of you. Please stay safe out there. We love each and every one of you, because until next time, we are out.
Bye.